Perfect. Okay, so how's it going, guys? This is Ryo Murata, photographer based in Tokyo. This is my second video for this year, and I was never expecting this to happen, but as the title says, this was on my first priority list. Yes, you guys might be thinking I'm procrastinating, but I just recently got my films from the lab. They need to get scanned, but this video was like on that priority list, so I just made it. So as the title says, a lot of people on the film forums, especially in Japan right now, are buzzing with this rumor, and it is true actually. So if you have seen a lot of my videos, I shoot mainly with the Pro 400H from Fujifilm. It's their professional line of color negative films, which they make both for 35mm and for medium format, 120 format. So according to Fujifilm themselves, they are officially going to discontinue producing this film, the professional Pro 400H, and which means that the majority of Japanese retailers, including Kamera Yodobashi cameras, Amazon included, they will start ceasing selling of this type of film. And if you have checked like B&H photos, they are officially discontinued, so you cannot like purchase it from them. And it's a bummer for me, you know. And as a Japanese guy, I will translate the official notification on their website to English so you guys can understand what it says. Okay, so the official website says that this is the end of the Pro 400H professional film distribution. You can scroll down. We are really grateful for your contribution. Blah 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 blah. Fujifilm Holdings Imagining Company, we are grateful for you for using our Pro 400H color negative films. More blah blah blah. Due to the cost efficiency problems that are arising and we were working to decrease the amount of expenditure and overhead costs, we realized that throughout the process it is almost impossible to like recover the cost of increasing the price increase of the raw materials. And the key ingredient, which they never officially said, and purchasing and in like making this film, it's sort of like impossible to gain that supply into our film production facility for the Pro 400H. And it says at the bottom, we are really truly selfish for our actions, unable to fulfill the wishes of our consumers, and at the same time we hope you to support our future products and services like before. Thank you, Fujifilm, from the CEO of Fuji, and I can't read his name, unfortunately. So this is really sad news, and there's no denying to the fact that I'm probably one of the only, not the only, but one of the few people who shoot with the medium format, film, the 120 Pro 400H, and it's kind of sad seeing that, yeah, you have to take into fact that film is, in a way, dying. But there are people out there who are starting to shoot with these films. So fortunately enough, they are going to, I guess in North America they ceased production of it, but in Japan they are still producing it. But according to their official website, it says that on the lower part, it says that the 135, so 35mm Fuji Pro 400H 35mm film will be discontinued within 2 months or so in March. And for the, I guess, the medium format, that film is going to be ceasing production in next year in March, if I'm right. But at the same time, this is kind of interesting because I never talked about it officially on my channel. The reasons why I shot with a 400H, it's just not because it's like the cheaper like film stock. In Japan, it's like $45 in Japan, and in the United States, I think it's like $40. But the Kodak Portra 400, which rivals this film, is actually a lot more expensive here. So that was one of the reasons why I shot with the Pro 400H. Another one is this only applies to people shooting in Japan, Japanese people actually, because the Fujifilm, the film themselves, actually take less time to get it processed in a lab, while the Kodak series, they take forever. Like when I actually shot the the Portra 400 in my Toyosu video, that film took like roughly 1 to 2 weeks to get it processed. And after that, you had to like scan it and to make videos, you know, and just stick those, you know, photos into your videos, there was that time lag. So that was like one of the reasons why I opted for the 400. My workflow was actually like really, it's much easier if I shot with Fuji, because once I had it sent to a lab, it'll come back in within 2 or 3 days. So that was like my main reasons why I shot with this film. But unfortunately, because it's gonna get discontinued, I had to revise my sort of like shooting strategies along with making the contents on my YouTube channel. So that's a really big bummer for me. Okay, so I praise that film since it brought me to the world of medium format photography at a budget price, and it's sad seeing it go away, you know, because I have a lot of Pro 400H on my wall and I praise it every day, every morning. Okay, so another additional like reason why I shot with a Pro 400H is it's a really versatile film to shoot with compared to the Kodak Fortra 400, because when you think about it, like depending on what mood you're in, like you could like either shift to the colder tones or the warmer tones on the Fuji. Well, if you ever shot with the Kodak Portra series, they're mostly in the warmer tones. So it's hard to say, but it's easier to add color in post, while it's hard to remove those colors in post. Meaning that if shot with a Portra 400, which has that warmer tone, it's harder to like shift that color to the colder tone because it's already like in the warmer tone. While the Fuji is, because it starts out as a neutral like film, it's like roughly, it's hard to say, it's like 5,000 kelvins on the Kelvin scale. So you can, if you just shift the tint, if you shift the Kelvin to like 4,800, you can make the image look a little bit colder or a little bit warmer. So depending on your like preference. So that was actually another reason why I shot with a Pro 400H. It was like a really versatile film in my opinion, but it's like really sad, you know, when it's discontinued. But the main story does not end here. You thought I would end it? No sir, I am not done. Okay, so the main problem that I want to start to talk about is what would happen after 2022, because that's like the end of Pro 400H. And as photographers, we lose one option. So if you're like me, there are going to be a lot of people going after this film. And in my case, I might stock up on some, like, I don't know, like a couple of like boxes, like 2 or 3 maybe. But in the long run, when I think about it, like I will eventually have to do that shift, find an alternative film to the Pro 400H. And fortunately enough, like in Japan, there is the Portra 400, which I previously shot with, which I'm used to, but I had to give up on that sort of like quarter tones. And there's a lot of like alternatives when you search it up on the web, thanks to the internet, you know. So I will probably check up on Portra 400, maybe Portra 160. And on the Fujifilm side, interesting enough, they still have the NS 160, the consumer grade one, which I shot once, but I actually didn't like. So, which I'm a little bit skeptical on if they're going to continue producing that film, because that's the only medium format film that they will have on their like website. And also, there's also that Lomo 800 that a lot of people have been talking about. And interesting enough, that film, you can still get it in Japan. Fortunately enough, I guess not many Japanese people shoot with that film, so I might check on that. Okay, so in addition to those alternatives, there's another film that I really want to check out, which is Kodak Ektar 100. When I first saw it, it was a complete opposite of the Portra 400, which the Ektar has a punchy, high saturated, high vibrant look. And in most cases, that would never fit into my style. But there was a guy on YouTube who actually shot with it, but he said that depending on your scanner, it would give a less like saturated look, because back then the majority of people scanned it with a really crappy like scanner back then. So if you have a great like scanner, flatbed scanner, it might actually look really nice. So I mean, I'm gonna give it a try and a shot and see if the Kodak Ektar might, if I could incorporate that into my sort of like workflow. I do not know, but I mean, you never know until you like try it, you know. So yeah, a lot of like things to try for this year, and yeah, hopefully I can make hopefully we'll make that switch sometime to probably the Kodak line in the near future. But like I said, it's like really sad to see one famous film stock, going away. I hope they come back, some like similar to Acros 2 or something. They ceased production, but they came back to like with version 2. So hopefully they'll bring out back that Pro 400H version 2. I don't know when, but hopefully they will. So yeah. So that's like the end of the video, and I'm kind of curious about you guys. Like, for people who shot with a Pro 400H, what are your reasons why you shoot with that film? And if you have any like alternatives to that film, please leave it in the comments below. I am looking for that, alternative, and before it goes into extinction. And if you have any comments and questions, please leave it in the description below. I am happy to like reply to them. So we will see you next time. Peace.